6-0、6-0 のストレート勝ちだったんですね。はい。
has up and downs at Wimbledon. She is not totally consistent, but I think she likes the grass. But she has been in a strange mood, just as John, you were saying. We know that she has ups and downs at Wimbledon. She is not totally consistent, but I think she likes the grass. But she has been in a strange mood, just as John, you were saying. She just is very introverted at the moment. The pressure, I think, is getting to her as it does to all the number ones in the world. I really feel that without Monica Seles there, she has been deprived of any real appreciation for being number one in the world. And I think that just begins to chip away at your ego, really.
And of course the ego was severely dented by that well-publicized loss to Mary Pierce. Totally out of the blue, really. Swept away on a tide of winners from the American girl, who just had an inspired afternoon, kept a wonderful length, and Steffi didn't really know what to do, and it was curious to see her emotional reaction to that. She just dashed off the court and didn't want to speak to anybody.
Well, there was a sort of a turning point a few weeks earlier in Hamburg, and you see Hamburg was the anniversary of Monica Seles' stabbing, and of course it was done in her name and Steffi Graf's name. And I think that it all came back. I mean, this is obviously just my opinion, but it seemed to just all come back and put a pall on her, and she just seemed in a gloomy mood ever since then. And in that particular final, she was a set and 5-2 up against Arantxa Sanchez, and had one match point and lost the match. And it's sort of been really heavy going for her since.
McNeill won the toss and elected to serve.
6 tournament wins this year. She's lost only twice, the matches you just heard about.
Time.
And the man who is in charge of affairs today, Ted Watts from Hanbei, who I hope will see to it that the players don't take longer than the 30 seconds between points and the 90 seconds at the change of ends. We are all conscious of the fact that the game can drag a little bit if you don't keep the rules enforced. And it will be McNeill to serve.
Love 50.
You're going to see quite a lot of net play today. McNeill a fine volleyer, not too much volleying I suspect from Graf, who likes to rule from the baseline.
(30-50). (40-50).
Yes, good serve into the body. Quite a lot colder today, I must say, and he looks sensibly wrapped up against the weather. Let's hope the rainwear isn't necessary.
Game is McNeill. first game.
So Laurie made a good start there, Virginia. She didn't look at all tense or nervous.
Despite the fact that she did serve a rather unlucky double fault in the first point because it hit the tape, her serve is so good, but she does get nervous. She has always been a slightly tense player. So if she can keep her first serve going well, and you can see that it was effective serving into Steffi's body, she is going to really be quite a contender here. The really interesting fact to me will be to see how Steffi tries to take the net away from Laurie. Laurie will come in on every conceivable chance. She might even be chipping and charging on first serves if she's given any sort of chance by weakness in Steffi's serving. And perhaps Steffi will try to come into the net more herself. It's very gusty out here, so it's going to take a little while to adjust.
Love 50. First service.
That is the great shot, isn't it, that we see
15 all.
from Graf all the time, Virginia.
Well, yes, and if she can open up the court with a cross-court shot.
$15-30. $15-40.
Clever little lob, that. Never a mistake to lob when it's a little windy.
$30-40. Game, Miss McNeill. Miss McNeill leads 2 games to love, first set.
Well, there's a scoreline that you might not have expected to see, but not altogether surprising. Steffi Graf showing all the signs there of being a little bit nervous and pushing that last ball rather instead of hitting it.
$15-1. $15 all.
problem here with the wind is that it tends to swirl around. It isn't consistent in direction. That's true of most bowl-shaped stadia.
(15-30).
And it's just those sort of volleys where the wind holds the ball and it doesn't come to where your racket is.
(15-40).
Laurie McNeill came from Houston, where John Wilkerson discovered her, along with her one-time long-standing doubles partner, Zina Garrison.
Game, Miss Graf. McNeill leads 2-1, first set.
Steffi seems to be timing her backhand better already than the forehand. She takes it so early, and of course she's criticized so much for having predominantly a slice backhand, but on grass it works for you, and everything was right about that. She always has taken the ball very early on the backhand side. One of the criticisms on the forehand is that she tends to take it late. She almost gets the elbow too far back and has to rely on her powerful hands to get the racket through in time.
Yes, it's the sort of natural shot which, being as good as it is, you wouldn't ever want to change, but it's not the way you teach anybody to play. We always teach get the racket back early, and that is sound advice generally, but with somebody like Steffi here, it's always been hit that way.
Time.
And it's always been her match-winning weapon, and so you leave well alone. Coached by her father, Peter, from the start, and now with Heinz Gunthardt of Switzerland. There's Heinz Gunthardt with a cap in the front row on the right, and on the left was Heidi.
Love 15.
Yes, there's Heidi on the left of your picture. That's Mrs. Graf. And Klaus Hofsass in the green top, who is the gentleman in charge of women's tennis in Germany.
Second service. (15 all). (30-15).
So that a typical Graf rally, running round to clout her forehand deep into the opponent's backhand corner, beating McNeill there really just for pace and accuracy.
40-15.
The forehand is the weaker side of Laurie McNeill, and Steffi does seem to be trying to serve mostly there.
(40-30). Miss Graf. 2 games all.
Well, only 13 minutes have elapsed, 4 games played. They're certainly playing at fast pace here and not taking even the 25 seconds allowed between points. I think a little while ago I must have said 30. Of course, that was changed a couple of years ago to 25.
(15 long).
Gorgeous forehand here. That the second serve, of course, bounces marginally higher, so that gives her a chance to thump it. Some of the balls at the side have been staying very low.
(30-50).
Very purposeful today and calm. And even as I speak, the rain is beginning to fall, just spitting.
First service. (40-50).
First service, she gets beautiful extension on it, and her preferred serve, or her most effective serve, is the swinging one out to Steffi's forehand.
Game is McNeill. McNeill leads 3-2, first set.
So McNeill, having lost the break that she'd achieved in game 2, nevertheless leads again after a good service game. It always seemed to me, Virginia, that here was a player when we first saw her with enormous potential. I mean, she could do everything. She can volley, she plays well from the back, and yet she's never quite won the major titles.
I think the reason for that was she was always very nervous as a competitor, and she used to get a little shaky on second serves. Somehow, as she's got a little older, and I suppose the expectation has gone and she's just got into her nice little routine, she's learned to live with her nerves. And although you see her looking very nervous at times, it doesn't seem to faze her too much.
Time.
She is almost exactly the same age as Zina Garrison, a month or so younger. and she was very much in her shadow for a long time. And I think they always found it difficult to play each other, although Laurie's been the one who's been winning a bit more often
Quiet, please.
in their meetings. And she's changed her coach now to a young man called Mervyn Webster. So all these factors seem to have calmed her down and produced more consistency.
Love 50.
Yes, forced into error by the approach to the net, you see. It's the approved method of beating Steffi on the fast service, in against the backhand. Not easy to achieve that.
Love 30.
She was almost forced to come in because that ball was so short. A beautiful approach shot. Maybe she didn't get herself quite in as good a position at the net, but still, it's the way to go. Just as you watch her on the volley, she doesn't quite stick her racket out as far in front as is the best, but that'll do. She was pleased with that.
Oh, it's lovely tennis.
Talk about a natural volleyer on this side of the net. That racket stuck way out in front, just clambering all over the net. Gorgeous movement she has.
Game, Miss McNeill. Miss McNeill leads 4-2, first set.
Rather nice that as Laurie came towards our commentary box, which is in the corner just here. She gave us a little smile of quiet satisfaction for that break of serve. Well achieved. So there was the attempted topspin back, and now if you look at her on the practice court playing with Heinz Guntart and others, you'll see her hitting a succession, a whole stream of stunning backhands with topspin. She used to do that with Pavel Slozil, but has found it always very difficult to bring that shot to the match court.
All. 15-30.
Oh, what a good length serve. Surprising Steffi. Just asking the umpire. Confirmation.
Beginning to show a little more spite in her forehand and, you know, really attack the ball. And that's really the best way for her to go to get her adrenaline going. There you go. She's really decided to nail it, and she does. Great shot.
Game, Miss Graf. New balls, please. As McNeill leads 4-3, first set.
Of course, in her match preparation, Virginia, Graf isn't entirely conventional, is it? I mean, here she is. She lost to Pierce in Paris. A nice alliteration there. And hasn't had a match since. It's hardly the way that most people would want to prepare for a major championship.
She's always fallen into this pattern of, after the French, going home for a bit. Well, she comes to London to practice on grass, then she goes home for a birthday, then she comes back, and she practices a lot at Orangi and around. But you are right, she doesn't give herself any match practice. She'll be playing sets against various people, and certainly against Heinz as well. It certainly worked for her in the past, but I think that she must have been fairly unhappy when she saw the first round draw. Laurie McNeill is one of the players who really intimidates you on grass. I mean, she comes in, she serves so well. She really is such an elegant mover.
As a reminder, ladies and gentlemen, no flashlight photography during play.
She tends to be streaky, so you're not absolutely sure what to expect. Steffi is having a miserable time with her serve, and really quite a miserable conditions, to be honest.
Change of tennis balls, 3-4.
Love 15.